And welcome. Today we've got something a little special for you. With me is Frederick, the CEO and game director at Interceptor, and we're going to take you behind the scenes for a little bit. So, tell us about Interceptor.
Interceptor is a company established in 2012. Actually, we started as a group in 2010, working on Duke Nukem Reloaded, which was this unprecedented fan project that was supposed to bring back, Duke Nukem in next-gen graphics. We closed down the project in 2011 and started working on Rise of the Triad, 2013, as people call it, in 2012. And 18 months later, we released Rise of the Triad, which we're extremely proud of. Hardcore first-person shooter with tons of guts and blood. Just what we love to play.
Like a step back to the good old traditionals from the 80s.
Definitely.
So I mean, you mentioned obviously a lot of Duke Nukem, but your new project is not that. You're working on something a little different this time. So I mean, tell us about it. What are you working on?
We're working on a brand new IP that we're really excited about. It's a game called Bombshell. Bombshell is a game that we almost wanted to do at some point. Bombshell was originally part of Duke Nukem back in the mid-90s. She was never formally introduced, but there were concepts of a character called Bombshell. And we always wanted to take that concept and turn into our own kind of IP thing. We're working on a...
So what's her inspiration? I mean, what can you tell us about Bombshell?
Bombshell is inspired by 80s action heroes. She's a female character, extremely badass, and very different from other female characters.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Did you mention about her bionic arm?
Yeah.
She has a bionic arm?
Yeah, she has a bionic arm. So Bombshell's arm is a bionic mechanical arm that she can turn into different weapons and use throughout the game for a lot of different gameplay elements.
Reasons.
Because of reasons.
Yeah.
She gave up her life basically for a squad of soldiers and lost her arm in action and got a mechanical black market arm created straight out of Terminator.
It sounds roughly like a Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger movie plot.
Definitely, with a female. And very different from other female characters in games. You have like Lara Croft, for instance, drastically different character that's way more...
She doesn't have a bionic arm, for instance. That's a fair difference right there.
Big difference. And way more rough around the edges. She drinks whiskey and drives a bike. She's not the sensual, sexy female character as you would imagine with big cleavage and such.
I mean, looking at some of the concept art for Bombshell, you're sensing a kind of a return to the 80s vibe to it. I mean, what are the inspirations that you put? What sources have you drawn upon, like musically or thematically?
Thematically.
Hey, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about 80s, but can I get Top Gun?
Yes.
I really want to play.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks. Good luck.
No problem. Bombshell is inspired by a lot of 80s action heroes. Primarily the inspiration for this character has an edge of cyberpunk to her. She's this rebellious hacker kind of cyberpunk girl that has military training. So music and thematic, it's very, very gritty, dirty. A lot of heavy metal music. It's mixed with a lot of electronic music. So it's this whole mixture and fusion of electronica and metal and steel, and
She sounds pleasant.
She's not pleasant to be around. And she does kick some butt, definitely. Okay.
Well, I mean, getting past that, because obviously I imagine a lot of the people watching on right now obviously do this because we love games. What's it like? Because I mean, Interceptor as such, you're not a big studio. You work in the indie scene, you're doing your own thing. What's it like? I mean, can you tell us what it's like to have like a small team like this, and you're a bit fragmented as well?
Yeah, definitely. Interceptor is a virtual studio, and we want to do the more AAA quality games. In terms of the visuals and the production quality, and that's very hard to do when you're 5 or 6 people as an independent studio. So the way we solved that was to create what we call a virtual studio, which we use for Rise of the Triad, and that allows us to hire extremely high talented people from that worked at other other studios, we've had people from Valve and Naughty Dog, for instance, that can actually work from home. The way we then treat our virtual team is like a family. We have this big online virtual tool, which is basically based around a forum structure, where everyone communicates about everything in the game. So we have a system administrator that gives feedback on character art. Because why not? We're one big family working on these games. And I think the flat structure we have in the company, combined with the virtual model that allows people to work from home, as well as everyone being a family and work on these games together, allows us to create very high quality titles for very low budgets. With industry legends, we have people like Scott Miller on board, for instance, who works on storyline for our games. So it's a very unique structure that allows us to create very high quality games.
Well, it also kind of it does show, because if we look at some of the images that we've seen, the pixel counter it's quite high, so to say. Your level of detail, considering the game and everything, is actually quite high. Your budget is taken into account, especially.
It's interesting to work on next gen titles. When we look at an action RPG like Bombshell, we have other comparisons. We have the new Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls, for instance, where when you look at a top-down isometric game like this and look at the try count for the characters, it's still based on try counts that you would do maybe 5 years ago. And we're in a unique situation in the industry right now where we can move into next gen, where we can just say, okay, everything previous gen, let's screw that and let's work with the hardware of the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and next gen PCs. And that allows us to do, higher try counts. For instance, the try counts of our characters is the same as a first-person shooter from 2 years ago. So it's equal to Mass Effect 3 try counts for characters that you see from an isometric perspective. It doesn't really make that much sense because you'll never see all this detail.
You mean the hours spent on the eyeshadow are wasted?
Exactly, but when going to the kind of uncanny valley of the detail is what we really enjoy about working with Next Gen, because it allows us to create visually stunning environments and characters and so on in a game you see from a different perspective. And it allows us to zoom in, show characters up close, do cool cinematics and all that stuff without ever swapping out the characters. So it's a lot of freedom with working with Next Gen.
That's pretty cool. What can you, since we're on character development right now, what can you tell us about the progress of the character? I mean, from the birthing perspective, to like the development and the finished thing. How many stages and iterations do you have to go through to get to end there?
The design of the character itself, the physical appearance of the character, started out by the original 3D Realms design from 97. 96, 97 was the original concept of Bombshell. A funny little Easter egg kind of thing, Bombshell was actually originally created by 3D Realms and Apogee to be part of Command & Conquer series. She was supposed to be...
She was a better Tanya.
She was a better Tanya, but this was before around Red Alert, but before Tanya was become a popular character. So she was supposed to be the competitor to the Commando, which is pretty funny. We read through some of the early designs that Bombshell was supposed to be in Command & Conquer, and it shows they were big Command & Conquer fans at 3D Realms and Apogee. That was really funny because we're big CNC fans as well. But then their concept turned into to Bombshell in its most popular understanding is that when you call a girl a bombshell, she's often busty and sexy and blonde and so on. So that was the original concept. She didn't have a storyline per se. She was very loosely defined. But we liked the idea of having a female character that was kind of a female action hero. That could be the female version of Solid Snake or Duke Nukem, for instance. But she could play with those guys, and she would be a real challenge to those guys. Master Chief is another one that she could be a real challenge to. So we decided to bring in an element that would make her unique. Besides her backstory, which is a really painful backstory, and her journey throughout the game and the storyline is also a very painful journey for her. We won't spoil anything, but there's a lot of.
If you had to, let's be honest. If you had, what is the biggest spoiler you can give us? Actually, what's the biggest spoiler there is? Let's just cut straight to the.
All right. Well, the biggest spoiler is that.
That's. Did not see that coming. Yeah, okay. No, right? That is going to upset a lot of people.
It's gonna be hilarious.
Once they play the app, I'm looking forward to that. That's okay. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. But yeah, we needed to give her an edge and give her the element of her that would compete with big brutal aliens and intergalactic adventures and so on.
Yeah.
So we decided that she needs a motherfucking heavy robotic arm that can annihilate enemies and turn into
with little consideration paid to how you still walk up straight when that thing kind of
exactly.
Yes.
That is
pure traditional 80s style logic there.
Pure badass logic.
Bigger weapon.
Exactly. The bigger the better. So, but yeah, it brings in a lot of gameplay mechanics that we really like. For instance, the way her arm can turn into different weapons is really cool. We have one weapon which is kind of like a minigun, and the secondary fire mode is basically where you punch the ground, and the hand of the arm basically folds into the ground as a stand, and then she detaches it from her body, and it turns into like a sentry gun. So you can detach that, it turns into a sentry gun, and then you have a pistol in your hand. And you can use that sentry gun to lead away enemy fire.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super badass. You can use a lot of different things. There's another mode where you basically launch it in the air and it turns into a little drone. That's called Shelly's little friend, and it flies around and basically helps her defend herself from enemies. So there's a lot of cool gameplay mechanics where you can use your arm at different things, but also at the expense of sometimes losing it. Some puzzles you have to shoot your arm in and do things for you while
ending up weaker while doing it.
Ending up weaker while doing it, for instance. So we're experimenting a lot with how we use this in gameplay.
That's pretty cool, actually.